We will now see how to import data into Excel. Obviously, with standard XLS or XLSX data files, there is no need to import the data. Simply opening the given data file in Excel is enough in such a case. We focus here on different file formats that are nevertheless very common. On Moodle class 3, you will find a dataset called class 3 underscore dataset underscore major underscore exporters in 3 different data formats. One has the extension txt. Here, the data are stored in a plain text format. This file can be opened, for example, with simple Notepad. Another file has extension CSV, standing for comma-separated values. This is also a very frequent format for data storage. Individual data columns in the dataset are separated either by commas or by semicolons. This data format can also be opened, for example, in a Notepad for you to see it. Finally, the third dataset has an extension DTA. This says that this file comes from a statistical package called Stata. We will work with this third file a bit later. Now download all the 3 files to your computer, ideally into some directory where you would like to save all your work for this course. A directory with other materials for this course and specifically for this one session. I download the 3 files with CSV, DTA and TXT extensions into a folder on my desktop for the sake of ease of demonstration, but you may find a better place than your desktop on your computer. Once you have done so, open Excel. Let us start with the TXT file, in which data are stored in a plain text format. Go to the Data ribbon. Here, go from Text and locate your downloaded TXT file in your directories. Press Import. The data are separated into columns by a separator in the TXT file format, typically by a 1 tabulator long break. Hence, let us select the option separator, or delimited in this case, and after clicking on Next, select Tab for tabulator. The data should now appear separated in 2 columns in the preview. You can either set a specific format of each individual column or just finish the import. And that's it for the TXT file. If you want to import the CSV data, you should follow basically the same procedure. Remember that in our CSV file, the data are in fact not separated by commas, as the name would suggest, but by semicolons. This is very practical, since commas might get confused with decimal commas. So in fact, even though the format is called CSV for comma separated values, most often the data we normally download from internet or from databases are separated by semicolons. Once again, go to Data and Import from Text and locate the file, in this case the CSV file. Again, select Delimited, but in the next step, select semicolon rather than tab. If you click Finish, the data are imported. There is one important caveat. You may know that while in continental Europe We normally use a comma to separate decimal digits. In the Anglo-Saxon world, a dot is often used. This may create a lot of confusion, as with incorrect settings, Excel would not recognize that you are in fact importing numerical data. Instead, it might think that you are importing strings, simply words, or even dates with days, months, and years separated by dots. In Europe, the default settings for decimal separators are normally the comma, so if you want to import data with decimal dots, you should tell this to Excel in advance. To do that, go to the File ribbon and select Options. Here go to Advanced, unmark Use System Separators, and tell Excel that for you, dot is the decimal separator, while comma may be used to separate thousands. If you use English as your default system language, this may not be necessary, as in this case. The decimal dot may in fact be the default. But then, at some point, you may want to import data created in the continental European format with decimal commas, so it is anyway very useful to know how to change these settings in Excel. So here we are. We know how to load into our Excel the very useful Analysis Toolpack add-in, and we know how to get into Excel data in three most frequently used formats. First, to work with XLS or XLSX files, we simply open them in Excel. To work with TXT or CSV files, we need to import them under the Data ribbon.